Sweet, you know. Yeah, man. Listen to this, you know. Yeah, man.
trip up to Spokane, Seattle, Washington. I'm the lemonade man from the east to the west. I got lemonade stands. When a hater try me, I just lemonade him. Everybody gotta eat, so I never knock your hustle long as you don't knock me. Teeth like teeth, tomahawk beside my teeth. Live from the other side, I'm a real G. Whipping master, I'm a field hand. Them cats lackluster, telling two things. Give me hell 5 10. I'm a lemonade man. Call my nigga A-Rap Shawty, he got stacks and Talibans. Better man up, sit her to the militant playing uncivilized civilians. Play trap games in the rap maze. Pardon me, I'm a vaccinated, turned up to the max, no fear factor. I'm the lemonade man. I'm a lemonade man. I'm a lemonade man. Take the bitter with the sweet. I'm a lemonade man. When a hater try me, I'm a lemonade man. Getting money in the streets in my lemonade stand. I'm the lemonade man. I'm the lemonade man. Take the bitter with the sweet. I'm the lemonade man. When a hater try me, I'm a lemonade man. Getting money in the streets in my lemonade stand. I'm the lemonade man. I'm the lemonade man. Like it's a bullshit life great. Snakes wanna slither on my plate. Burn on my waist, keep a fuck nigga out my face. Conversating, get you slipped on the plate. Nigga silly, I'm sitting pretty, chasing paper. Cause I fall like grandpa. Pack a Mac ready for the jack, bitch. Cause fuck niggas, y'all get whacked like hand dogs. Keep that Cali goods sitting in the jam jar. Nigga crossover, like and one. Wesley in my pocket, white man can't jump. Make it sing solo. Stop going pogo. Watch it for the polos. Post it like a sticky note. Act stupid and I pull a dodo. Take the top off. That's toothless. Naysayers. Don't make me have to do shit. I'm the lemonade man. When a hater try me, I'm a lemonade man. Getting money in the streets in my lemonade stand. I'm the lemonade man. I'm the lemonade man. Take the bitter with the I'm a lemonade man. When I hate a try me, I'm a lemonade man. Get money in the streets in my lemonade stand. I'm the lemonade man. I'm the lemonade man.
H-double-O-D-X. H-double-O-D-X.
Dancing on the beat.
I said H-double-O-D-X. H-double-O-D-X.
H-O-O-D-X, yeah.
I'm not distracted when an ass won't pass. I concentrate on the road, cause I don't wanna crash. I focus on my goals as I'm headed on my path. I separate emotions when they come to getting cash. I try to take a piece, then I try to come in peace. Now they wanna take my piece, now I gotta grab my piece in my crib. Paid for, just to say the least. I don't talk much, I try to say the least. Unless I'm spitting game, then I'm spitting like a beast. And nigga, if I'm praying, then I'm praying to the east. Listen with a God sound, rapping over beats. You sound stupid when you talking about trapping in the streets. I'm not reacting to distractions, I'm relaxing with the beef. But if we gotta go to war, ain't no capture and release, bitch, get back. Cause if I click back, I'ma squeeze. I'd rather die on my feet than live on my knees. There's a party over here, nigga, nah, I'm straight. Let's get a couple beers, nigga, nah, I'm straight. Let's hit the weed spot, nigga, nah, I'm straight. Let's take over this block, nigga, nah, I'm straight. There's a party over here, nigga, nah, I'm straight. Let's get a couple beers, nigga, nah, I'm straight. Let's hit the weed spot, nigga, nah, I'm straight. Let's take over this block, nigga, nah, I'm straight. I'm not a hard-headed nigga. nigga to keep bumping his head and don't learn from his mistakes. Nigga, nah, I'm straight. You wanna buy dope off me, nigga? Nah, I'm straight. I don't sell dime bags, nigga. I sell weight. You got ADHD, so you can't wait to smoke on some huff weed. Sit around and wait. My flow is on the track, but you like wait. You can't rewind me, cause I'm not no tape. When you try to transform, your friends gon' hate because misery love company, so he feel great. Try to tell a nigga something, but he act too great. Now you run the whole company and he too late. I don't wanna slow down, I ain't got no brakes, no rear view mirrors, nigga, nah, I'm straight. When it's time for me to eat, they gon' know I ate. I eat like the Last Supper, then I scrape the plate. There's a party over here, nigga, nah, I'm straight. Let's get a couple beers, nigga, nah, I'm straight. Let's hit the weed spot, nigga, nah, I'm straight. Let's take over this block, nigga, nah, I'm straight. There's a party over here, nigga, nah, I'm straight. Let's get a couple beers, nigga, nah, I'm straight. Let's hit the weed spot, nigga, nah, I'm straight. Let's take over this block, nigga, nah, I'm straight.
H-O-O-D-X, baby. H-O-O-D-X, baby, 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 baby.
Spit out. Sweet.
Peace, peace, Salito family. Brother Dawa here one more time. I ain't did a show in a while. I guess I just do shows now when I really feel like it. But if, it's like, how many times can I say the same thing? At this point, family, with these type of shows, I'm just doing shows where I can say, I told you so. I told you it was going to happen, and now here we are. I've been talking about this homosexual movement and this gay agenda for decades now. And I even wrote a book about it. The definition of a broke ass: homosexual, lesbian, transgender, and bestiality, assault on the black race. Wrote this book in 2012. Might have been a little bit ahead of my time, I don't know. But I contacted my publisher today with an email. I'm ordering some more books so I can push the book out there again. It's going to be a classic going into the new world for those of us that can transition from this life. And I don't mean in a homosexual way. That can ascend into the next phase of life, because right now we've come to a close. And what I mean by that is, in European societies, especially the last Roman society, it ended because of where we are today with the LGBTQ movements. Hold on, family. Battery going low. Plug that battery up for me, please. Plug that battery up for me, please. The battery, the computer battery. Yes. Like I said before, the Roman Empire ended the same way this empire is ending, through by way of a means of the pale-faced man trying to turn men into women and women into men, and pushing homosexuality and pedophilia, cannibalism, things like that. The real true religion of the pale-faced elite demon forces that control this world. Usually when they get all the way out of hand, their societies are destroyed historically because of LGBT madness. Once you decide to tell a man that he's not a man, a woman that she's not a woman, you start giving surgeries, chopping people up, mutilating them, and trying to make them the opposite sex, and get the populace to accept it, then you know you have come to the end of your society. Just look up white folks' societies, Roman societies, and how they ended. And they ended because you cannot use two men to reproduce, you cannot use two females to reproduce. And when your children start to believing that they are born in bodies that are not correct and they need to switch genders, and you've come to the end of your society, the end of your race. If you and your children decide that they want to couple themselves up with the same gender, or when they want to mutilate themselves and try to become another gender only to get with another person that did the same thing, there will be no children formed. And this is where we are in this transhumanistic society of pale-faced homosexual savages. Hell's babies. Yeah, this is where the pale-faced man shines in the anus of another male or boy. This is his life and what he loves, and he's always hated and despised women because women produce the babies. Something he wishes he could do, like you've seen the president over there in some of you all probably saw it, the Ukraine, a bunch of sodomite neo-Nazis over there. And he was dressed in a video like a video vixen, with high heels, stilettos, and some little old lingerie looking outfit on. I mean, this is what the pale-faced man is about. So when you see that from the president of the Ukraine, and Ukraine is at the world stage right now, being looked at as the good guys. You even got some of our so-called brothers leaving here, going there to join their military. They're being looked at as the good guy, but they represent the homosexual sodomite. Yeah, they represent the man with the dookie in his urethra, the man who likes to put his penile tissue in a boy or another man. That's what they represent. That's what's on the world stage, being propped up as the good guy in this battle, this fake World War III that they're kicking off because they want to establish a one world government where the transgender is everywhere, making all decisions, and there is no more life. We go into a transhumanistic state in the matrix, the new matrix. This is what these pale-faced demons want. And they've been wanting this for a long time. As I told you all about the 1969 Jaffe Memorandum, it was stated that Planned Parenthood would encourage increased homosexuality. Now, how can Planned Parenthood, how could they have ever increased or encouraged increased homosexuality when you don't see them out here talking about it? They did it through the Depo-Provera shot. That shot sat dormant in women who wanted to have some form of birth control. That the remnants of the shot sat dormant, laid dormant in the body of sisters. And they didn't tell the sisters that after they decided they wanted to get off Depo-Provera because they found a suitable mate to have children with or what have you, that there's a possibility that the other children after the Depo-Provera shot would possibly be gay or feel as if they were born in the wrong bodies. See, they genetically engineered a lot of what you see out here with this homosexuality, and with these young women out here actually going to doctors to get their breasts chopped off and going to try to get fake penises. Yeah. And a big influence with the youth today in the transgender movement is Hollywood actors, entertainers, ball players, you know, folks like politicians. But I want to deal with two entertainers. One is a basketball player, and the other is an actress, supposed to be an actress, movie star. Both are melanated, and they have presented a son to the world. And the father went on Ellen DeGeneres show, D Wade, I'm talking about, and Gabby Union. D Wade went on what I consider one of the homosexual ritual type of shows in Hollywood, the Ellen DeGeneres show. You know, Ellen has the name DeGeneres for a reason. They're playing right in front of our faces, letting us know that homosexuality and lesbianism is a degenerate. It brings about a degenerate person, or it comes through degeneracy. Nothing can generate from it. It's degenerated. There's no generation. There's no life in it. That's what you have to do, or that's the way you should see things when you see the name DeGeneres, Ellen DeGeneres. Yes, Ellen is truly a degenerate being, a degenerate vine. The nothing grows from that little, whatever that thing is, male or female. Whatever Ellen DeGeneres is, nothing can grow from it. It is a degenerate vine, good to be cast out. And that's all it's good for. You see. So D Wade went on that show, and that's a very high Freemasonic show, because on that show they pushed the transhumanistic, transgender, homosexual, and lesbian, queer, and non-binary and gender fluid agenda. They push it on that show, push it very hard. It's accepted on that show. Hollywood has things like that, or shows like that, or places like that for people to go and sit down and do interviews. It's like they're playing games, interviewing. They're putting their people out there in front of the world to cast a spell. They put them on television, and on a television broadcast where they are telling you their vision, and they are broadcasting it. It's being casted broadly. What's being casted? The spell. It is a spell. Television is there to spellbound you, to have you spellbound, to cause you to go in one or whatever direction or directions the director and the producers of movies want you to go in. And if you're watching TV, notwithstanding that, then more than likely the spells are working on you, you see. But anyway, let's look at the Ellen DeGeneres. Let's look at D Wade on Ellen DeGeneres' show. Let me share that screen with you all and let you hear this wealthy, rich, supposed to be male, D Wade, talk about his melanated son, who I believe was 12 years old at the time. I see they knock you off the counter because this is too much for him, but that's what the devils always do. Try to minimize my numbers all the time.
Thanks for being here. That was a clip from the ESPN documentary. And first of all, I think it's what every parent should be, is what you're being right now, which is unconditionally loving your child and supporting your child in whoever they are. I mean, there are so many parents that are just, oh, you're not going the way I imagined or wanted you to be, and freak out. And you're so loving and supportive of Zaya, and what a special child she is.
Yes, she is. She is. Thank you so much for that. First of all, me and my wife Gabrielle Union, we are proud. When I say proud, we are proud parents of a child in the LGBTQ plus community, and we're proud allies as well. And we take our roles and our responsibility as parents very seriously. So when our child comes home with a question, when our child comes home with an issue, when our child comes home with anything, it's our job as parents to listen to that, to give them the best information that we can, the best feedback that we can. And that doesn't change because sexuality is now involved in it. So once Zaya, a 12-year-old, came home, and first Zion, everybody, I don't know if everyone knows, originally named Zion born as a boy, came home and said, hey, so I want to talk to you guys. I think going forward, I'm ready to live my truth. And I want to be referenced as she and her. I would love for you guys to call me Zaya. And so internally, now is our job to, one, go out and get information, to reach out to every relationship that we have. My wife reached out to everybody on the cast of Pose. We're just trying to figure out as much information we can to make sure that we give our child the best opportunity to be, her best self.
Yeah, I mean, I would think that it's one thing. It's one thing to have this at home, but knowing that she's going to be out in the world because you're a public figure, and even if you weren't, she's going to school, and to want to be protective and to make sure she's safe.
Yes.
That must be a scary thing, because it's one thing for you to love her and your wife to love her, but you just want everyone to love her the same way.
Exactly. And once Zion came home and said, hey, you call me Zaya and I'm ready to take on this, I looked at it and said, you are a leader. You are a leader, and it's our opportunity to allow you to be a voice. Right now, it's through us because she's 12 years old, but eventually it would be through her.
Right. Well, and Listen is an organization you're working with, and there's a lot of, if anybody else out there can relate to this and needs help, you can go to our website and we can direct you, because I'm sure there are a lot of people that just don't know what to do. So you're a great example.
Thank you.
I know that everybody is still grieving over the loss of Kobe and all the people that we lost on. You must have a lot of memories of Kobe, and he was just such a light, wasn't he? He was just such a bright light.
It was special. I mean, I think my favorite, we all have stories and moments of, our interactions with, one Kobe, but I think what was special about him, and why you see so many guys in the NBA or so many younger guys really tore up about this, is because he was the first superstar that really embraced different generations, really embraced us. And I think from like 2008 on, from the Olympics on, he really put his arms around us as competitors. And the rest of the world. You saw him being more involved in so many different sports, not just basketball and soccer, obviously.
Okay, enough about Kobe Bryant. That interview, there's some key points I want to kind of touch on. The first one is he said, or Dwayne Wade said, that they were proud parents of someone in the LGBT community, as if it is a badge to have a child that identifies against itself and against its race. He, or D. Wade, spoke in reference to being proud, and then went on to call his son, that he knows is a boy. I'm guessing it's a boy. I'm guessing it was born a boy. I guess they're fooling us and it's really born a girl. I don't really know. But if it really was born a boy and he knows this, then why is he calling it a her and a she? What kind of father would actually call his child the opposite gender and be considered a good father? People talk about men who are not around in their children's lives and call them deadbeat fathers, and get on their case if they have issues with women and they don't want to even go around because of it. They call deadbeats and all types of other things. Broke, if they don't have enough money to provide the lifestyle the mother thinks the child should have. It's amazing that you can still have a father in the house with you, or that person that's supposed to be the father figure, and they can be wealthy with plenty of money and still be a fool, still be a detriment to you as a young man, still not know how to raise you up. Notice D. Wade said that Gabby Union called the cast of the show Pose, all those transgender creatures supposed to be women, but they're all men on the show Pose. And I don't think they're post-op surgery transgenders, meaning I believe they still have their penises and their testicles. I don't think they've been fully castrated, but they walk around with silicone in their chest for breasts. These are made-up characters, fictitious beings, artificial creatures with fake body parts. You know, they like junk, trash. You know what I'm saying? Non-human at all. It is really it's amazing. It's amazing. Yeah, our brother Tim D. Wade from the Shy, around in the Shy. But I believe he was raised up there or something, grew up there. Yeah, it's amazing. Chicago has a very deep LGBT underground. I found that out studying Iceberg Slim and the book he wrote, Mama's. I forgot what the name of it about. Called Mama something. Anyway, it was about a story about a plantation in Mississippi, and how a man on the plantation, a young brother, was turned into a homosexual and had to put on dresses and wigs and things like that to accommodate the savage homosexual pale-faced slave masters. And he ran away and he ended up going to Chicago and got caught up into an underground sex perverted LGBT sexual cult type of ring, So yeah, and Chicago is the third largest city in the country, and there's plenty of our people there. So it makes a lot of revolutionary things took place there, with Fred Hampton and the Black Panthers and some of the so-called street tribes or so-called gangs. So the pale-faced man had to go there with his drugs, his Ritalin, which is like to turn young men homosexual, with the formula from the milk for as babies to sit inside the baby's body and sit dormant in his testicle sac to kind of weaken the sperm later on when they grow, to alter the sperm, alter the DNA, alter the testosterone levels and things like that. Yeah, they did many experiments, COINTELPRO and everything in Chicago, because of the revolutionary mindset and spirit of the men there who would fight to protect their own. That's where the street tribes come from what I hear. And so the paleface had to do everything he could to demonize the strong masculine energy that used to be Chicago. Yeah. Drugs and Greek mythology. Yes, indeed, Brother Tim. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So, also in the video, you could hear, I don't know if I discussed it or not, but if I did, I'm going to reiterate it. Dwayne Wade was calling the child a she. That is a tremendous disrespect for all women on the planet. It shows that even though this is supposed to be a married man, supposed to be married to a woman, and supposed to be one of the most beautiful women, Gabby Union, known in America, right? Beautiful actress, right? But yet and still, whatever he's drawing from this so-called vagina or whatever's going on sexually, whatever he's drawing from this being, which I believe is a little man, but whatever that's being drawn is causing him to go against women, because that's not in favor of women. When you call a young man a female, you are disrespecting all women and men as well. There's no respect in that for nature either. This is a person who was against nature and against the creative life-giving force. This is a demonic energy speaking through this so-called D wave. And then he said that they are allies. See, and this is what these homosexual pale-faced sodomites do. They go around trying to get allies from the so-called heterosexual community because they need a buffer. They need some of us to protect uh, the homosexuals from any type of discrimination, any type of, somebody speaking out against them verbally or any physical attacks as well. They need a buffer. They need someone there to help them because they want to come in and just pick us off one by one or have enough. They want those of us that are heterosexual that believe in homosexuality and lesbianism so they can just keep on carrying on through our neighborhoods and turning out people as they want. And before you know it, if there's so many allies of us, before you know it, you're going to have a whole bunch of folks that's just straight up gay. And we'll look around, all the allies look around and see they're surrounded by more gays than the so-called heterosexuals. Then what do you do as a nation? This is definitely theft at its best. Yes, indeed, K Fighter. Sister, I think that's my sister Keisha. Yes, indeed. It is. It's theft. They're calling sisters cis women. I ain't even gonna say real women because I'm just gonna say sisters. A sister is a woman. A woman. You know what I'm saying? And so they're calling the women cisgendered. These transgenders have been given the ability, rights to call the women cisgender, cis women, and call us cis men. CIS, like substandard. You know what I'm saying? That it really means the real thing, but with the CIS, it's like you're not the real deal. But you have to understand this culture is created under the weight of transgenderism because we're told that America is supposed to be under a feminine energy. America, the great America. And it's supposed to be the symbol of America is supposed to be the Statue of Liberty. But when you look at the Statue of Liberty very closely, you find that's a big forearm, wide, box-faced man. We just have been under the impression that it was a woman. We were told it was a woman. Statue of Liberty is a whole man. That's not a woman. That's the energy that we've been in under the pale-face assault that took place on this land many years ago. Let's take a look at a picture, because they say a picture is worth 1,000 words. Matter of fact, I ain't gonna even show the picture. I'm pretty sure y'all saw the picture of D Wade's supposed son. I would say son, kissing the white counterpart. They're right in our face with it now. Matter of fact, yeah, let's look at it. Picture's worth 1,000 words. Let's take a look. Okay, family, sorry for the delay, but here I want to show you all a picture. Let's look at this and dissect this picture. I say a picture is worth 1,000 words. Well, look at this picture, family. D-Wade, Gabby Union. These two are supposed to be representing the heterosexuals among us that are young, see, that are accepting of this behavior here. And the little girl, the next generation, already being brought into it. And then the blue and then the pink here. You see these colors. There's a lot of stuff you got to pay attention to in this here. This little baby has on the pink shirt, the pink, and this creature here has on the blue. And these are the transgender colors with the white background here in the back too as well. So you have the pink, the blue, and the white, which are the transgender colors. And they got the little child here. This may be a child they're going to flip to if it's not already flipped. But this here, this pale-faced creature here is supposed to be, I'm hearing, a transgender as well. Born a girl, supposedly trying to now be a man. So this is a degenerate couple here. There can be nothing that's going to be produced from this. And you see the pale face with the young brother, which I would say is if you're gonna be forced to see this, to me it's better for them to go and help. Well, you can't defile pale faces; they're already to a certain extent are already defiled. Period. So you really can't defile them, but they can come and defile us. It's funny how there's a pale face here that is the love interest of this young man here. But again, nothing will come from this, so there will be no children born from this relationship. And they want the little child here to grow up accepting that they're living in a society where children do not have to be born. Women are not really respected or cared about, loved, or anything like that. If this creature here was truly a woman, it wouldn't be producing or pushing the castration of this young male here. If this creature was truly a man, it wouldn't be producing or pushing the castration of its own son that came out of its own testicle sac. It just doesn't make sense at all. And here's another picture. Hold on, let me minimize this and go back into it. Yeah, here we go again. This looks so out of place. And they're pushing this in front of all of us. So what is the true purpose of them showing us this? This is what the modern family is today, or what it will be in the future. People talk about things going back to normal. This will be your normal in the new world these homosexual sodomites are trying to create. This will be the new world. A young man in a dress at your door trying to date your nephew or date your little brother. Maybe even coming after your husband or your significant other, your father, your grandfather. SB 145, I believe, was passed, if I'm not mistaken, in California. And they're saying that bill makes it where the age of consent has been lowered. So now the 20-some-year-olds can marry, I believe, 12-year-olds or something to that effect. Straight pedophilia. Now it's been, I believe, accepted in California, if I'm not mistaken. And as you can see right here, they're kissing and whatever. It looks so out of place. It looks so forced, and it doesn't look natural at all. It's because it's not natural. This is sick. And any one of us brothers out here still caping for the NBA, something is wrong with you. If you are still caping for the NBA after this, if you're still caping for Denzel Washington and people like that who are in the business with Gabby Union, and you still caping for these NBA stars and these ball players and these so-called Hollywood stars, something is wrong with you, and you truly are part of the problem. Right on, Sister Nikki Justice. Nobody supported Keisha when she had a baby at 14. Why is this being supported by mainstream? Because mainstream is about transhumanism and the hatred of women. And they've created a society where you have the Kevin Samuels of the world who speak on how women ain't even necessary, basically, and men can lay with young boys, and this type of madness, like the MGTOW movement of men going their own way, and all this men hating women and despising women and blaming everything in the community on women, and women despising the men and blaming everything in the community on the men, and this bickering and fighting between the so-called heterosexuals makes it very easy for the pale-faced demon to poison our children behind the scenes because we're bickering and arguing. We can't see the enemy because we're looking too much at each other and want to blame each other and not be accountable for our part in the demise of our own nation of people. You see, so yeah, it's interesting to see, to watch the world as it crumbles, as most European and Greco-Roman societies do under the weight of homosexuality and lesbianism and transgenderism. It's a very heavy weight in the spirit realm to be under such mass hysteria, to be under an attitude or thought process that thinks it can change nature, and you can change he to she by a surgery with a surgery. And you're not supposed to judge people and let people do what they want. You got family members out there who will say stuff like, well, that's my child, and better not nobody say nothing to my child, and or that's my sister, or that's I have a gay relative, and better not nobody touch him or say nothing to him, and I support him, and all of that nonsense. You're part of the problem, supporting degeneracy among our people. And your vision isn't in depth enough, really, to assist your people. You're seeing on the surface level, and that is listening. You're seeing by listening to Christian thought process, and that has given you your vision. And they told you turn the other cheek and love everybody, and this is nonsense because that's not how you run a society. Loving everybody will never work when you have wickedness within the society, and a portion of your society loves and gravitates toward wickedness, then you're going to have wickedness that's going to show up. And that's what we got right now. Many people love wickedness because that's what we've been shown, and we've just accepted that is the way things should be. Like there's a video out of Gabby Union on the radio years ago telling women to lick a man's anus, and then saying you got to teach these children, you got to get them at a young age. I was trying to find the actual official video, but I can't find it now. It's just clips of people talking about it, but I wanted to find the actual video itself. Gabby Union is a disgusting creature who walks around talking about licking anuses of men. What woman really wants to have her face and tongue in a man's anus? What woman in her right mind would push such? That's why I don't have a hard time believing these couples are sometimes inverted, flip gendered, because they speak so ill to the gender that they are supposed to be representing. They want them to do the nastiest, raunchiest, wickedest, evilest things, the most perverted things. So that's why it's easy for me to believe. Plus, I know how Hollywood gets down. It's easy for me now to see and understand that yes, many of these, if not all of the A-listers, are of a transgender experience. They're not the gender they speak, and this is why they can speak so crazy as a gender that they're supposed to be, because they're in character and they actually hate the gender that they're supposed to be representing. This is what I believe. From my research and from the way I've seen and how TV and everything runs. But this is the modern family that they want to produce us to be accepting of. They want us to have our sons out here going, wearing dresses, going to see another young man. In other words, removing another young lady out of another young man's life. That's another thing that. See, this is war, and I don't think people really understand that we're still in war. We're captives of war still. When they came to this land and invaded this land, the copper colored people that were already here, which is our ancestors, they captivated and took the land, changed the names, jumped in to sign the deeds, took the deeds, and they took the deeds over and signed their names as owners of homes and owners of property and all this, and they took property, just took it flat out. These creatures that took this property never gave it back. They've never sat down in all the presidential elections and really brought to the table giving back the land to its actual owners, or those that were here already occupying the land before they came. They never talked about that. Never talked about it. Never will, more than likely. So we still are we still are under, or we still are in war with these people. We have just come to the point where it's so crazy that some of us who actually join the military and think that that's the only way that war will be waged is if you join the military and you go wherever the pale-faced man says go. But no, when they are poisoning formula to give to babies so that young men will grow up from drinking formula and have compromised sperm, compromised DNA, you know, it's a little deeper than you may think that on the surface. That's wars that are silent. They don't actually have bombs that are actually you can see and hear being dropped. When they're poisoning your food, and the food, that stuff they're putting in the food causes young males to be more feminine, causes their body frames to grow much smaller, uh, cause them to be much more physically weaker, where they're born with less testosterone. Uh, that's war. It's silent war. It's biological and chemical war that has been waged upon us by way of depot virus shots as well. Uh, the food has been altered. There's much estrogen in the chicken. From what I've heard, the female animals that we eat are female, and they're pumped with estrogen. Women already have estrogen, so when you get the estrogen from, I think Dr. Lena Africa spoke about this, when you have estrogen from the chicken or and going into bodies with the sisters, and they already have estrogen, there's too much estrogen, and then somehow a bump is formed in the body, which is they call them tumors, fibroid tumors, and they end up all over the place sometimes. And they'll tell you that you need to get a hysterectomy, which will drive you hysterical as women, because they hate your female organs in the first place. And of course, they will give you food that will cause you to be compromised when it comes down to having a child, or to have so much blood and so much discomfort and pain in your sexual region that you want to have some relief. So you go to them to have them give you a partial or full hysterectomy, not knowing that they're doing harm to you, and the medical industrial complex is working against you right alongside the USDA. The government has set up a plan to feed you and poison you, weaken your immune system. So, these types of things have not really been talked about extensively among us. So, a lot of times we don't really realize what's going on in the society we live in. But this is a society that's never been conducive to women, a society that hates women because it's ran by a man who is a savage, psychopath, narcissistic, pale-faced vampire of sorts that has always hated women. And you see in his first depictions of his first interaction with women in the cave, he had a big club and he had bust upside her head and was dragging her by her hair, or fur, excuse me, they don't have hair, by the fur of its head. They've always been known to be abusers of women and beaters of women and haters of women because it's just in the nature of the pale face, especially the pale face elite, the 13 families that control and rule the world as we know it, these inbred honkies, you know. It's a very sick society that they create. They create transgender society. They hide transgenders all over the place. They hide them and they give by giving children hormone blockers and stopping them from puberty. And it's a wicked cycle. And they create Sodom and Gomorrah among us. And we should never trust pale faces. Facts. We should never trust them. Never. We should never trust pale faces, family. They have caused us again to fight among each other and also to be allies. Even though we fight each other, we find a way to be allies to help the LGBT pale face community come into our communities and cause our children to believe they don't even need to be born in the bodies they were born in. They should be flipped and switched, and they should be claiming to be non-binary, and they should link up with the LGBT community because this is the way life should be. This is the madness that we're under with these cave creatures. Let me share let me invite you all, and somebody might want to speak. So let me share the link with y'all before I get off here. I don't be on here too long. There is the link in the chat. So if anybody wanted to come on and add any information you may have, or any agreement or disagreement with what I'm saying, is welcome as well. So, and in the meantime, again, I contacted my producer at Frontline Books in Chicago, Illinois, Brother Sekou, on the south side of Chicago in Hyde Park, to print some more of my books. So I'm waiting on a reply from them because I'm going to start pushing the book again. And I think I'm going to add one more chapter to it, or either get a DVD together and make an actual DVD, or put everything on the iUSB and send it out for people that want to see it and focus in on the transgender movement. See, the transgender, as I said before many times, is the God, the gatekeeper to the LGBT community. And in America, there are two flags that run, three flags. The American flag with the 50 stars, which is for the pale faces. The rebel flag, which again is for the pale faces. And then the gay flag. These are the three flags that the pale-faced man runs in America that run high. Now, his favorite pastime and how you can identify him and his ways, his sexual perversion, is the fact that he has his gay flag, or he has the so-called rainbow flag. And rainbows are beautiful, but there's nothing gay or nothing degenerate about a rainbow. But the pale-faced savage homosexual has taken the rainbow or tried to hijack the rainbow and put their perverted sexual so-called lifestyle, which is a death style, on it. It's amazing. It's very disrespectful. The pale-faced man lets the world know by flying his flags high in the sky that he is against creation. He is against nature. He has nothing to do with progression as helping humanity progress and be healthy. The pale-faced man has nothing to do with any of that. The pale-faced man's race is here to destroy man, woman, and child. Within their religion, there's a Father, there's a Son, and a Holy Ghost. They have shunned the woman and pushed the woman out. This is why you see so much woman hate in the society that we live in now. So much hate for women is in this society because we live in a society of pale-face rule. And pale faces are creatures or beings that are not in no wise in love with women. Pale faces are not pushing healthy marriages. We don't see them out here in the forefront in videos and all over the television sets pushing healthy marriages. That's not what they do. They're not the model citizens and the model beings on the planet to model your life after. They are what you should not do. You passed my book to each one of your children that went off to college. Wow, you did. Is that what you're saying, Brother Tim, that you did pass my book on to your children that went off to college? Or are you saying you would? I think you're saying you did. Past is the past tense. So I'm guessing you did. And if you did that, really, I appreciate that, brother. My book is a conversation piece. It gets the conversation started. Because they're not going to tell our youth about the medical dangers of being a homosexual male and all the diseases that go along with such a so-called lifestyle, the hospital visits, and things of that nature. They don't tell you about that. They don't glorify that. Oh, you did? Wow, I appreciate that, brother. I appreciate you passing the book on to all your children and going off to college, because I think that my book will help youth, especially, those who are at the age of going to college, to understand the world we're living in and be able to give them some tools to fight this devil. Because see, when you can identify the devil, when you can identify the enemy on the battlefield, you can do much better in the war. And when you know that you're in war and you can identify your enemy on the battlefield, now you really have tools to be able to make it through this matrix and not be deceived, as so many of us have been deceived and still are. You bought it back in 2013. I appreciate it, bro. Like I said, I dropped it in 2012, and and I'm still dropping it. Like I said, I contacted my brother Sekou. I'm waiting on them to contact me back to let me know when I can get some more books out here. But family, D Wade should not be considered a positive role model. See, that's what they want us to look at. They want us to look at D Wade and see D Wade as some positive male role model, man who is accepting of his son coming to him saying he doesn't want to be a man. If my son came to me and ever told me that, I'd wonder what I'd done possibly to cause him not to want to be a man. A man should be, whether he's in the child's life or not, his energy, his voice, his presence around his son should make his son want to be a man. But again, having a father or so like a D Wade, this character is there. D Wade is playing the role of a man that don't know what the hell he's doing, basically. But it looks as if he does. He got money, you know what I'm saying? He's supporting his son. And this is what they want all of us brothers to do, sit down and accept our sons coming to us telling us they don't want to be men. That they want to go knock on somebody's door with a dress on and get a young man out the house. They want to lay up with a boy, with a man. They want some man to, bend them over. And they're having the wrong type of thoughts and feelings. But, a real man will step up and speak against that and not, put things in perspective. But a homosexual type of man, a sissified type of man, a man who is buck broken will do what a D Wade is doing. D Wade is no role model. And again, to all the brothers out there that are in love with D Wade and the NBA and all of that, y'all need to drop that nonsense. And I'm looking at you with a side eye. If you're still in love in 2022 with the NBA and college ball and all this stuff, nobody in college ball is speaking out against this young man getting this, trying to become a so-called woman, walking around with dresses on, kissing on white transgenders. Nobody in professional ball is saying nothing. The executives ain't saying nothing. None of these big-time actors are saying anything. The retired ball players is on ESPN and these shows. They're not saying nothing. These are supposed to be big, strong men with wives and all that. And all them devils. Every man on that TV that's a so-called brother that ain't speaking against this situation need to all be canceled. They all hate women as far as I'm concerned. Because your silence is your compliance. By them not saying nothing, some people say, well, they can't say nothing because that's their money. That's a lie. They got a mouth. They can open it. They can say something. If they can talk, they can say it. They just refuse to say it, which means they're with the agenda. The agenda of replacing women with men. This is the agenda that the D Wade and all of the NBA, all of the so-called black actors on television, actresses too, because Gabby is a female actress, supposedly. And none of the female so-called actresses in Hollywood is speaking against it either. They're all down with the castration of their own young men. At 12 years old, they're already down with the producing young castrated males in the community who walk around with the physical parts but won't be able to use it because they'll be pushed up in their stomachs and told that they're vaginas for those that get the post-op surgeries. The rest of them are just drag queens walking around with some silicone bags of piss in their chest. They call silicone breasts and fake, vaginas. I mean, still got the penises in their testicles. It's a sick world we live in. And we're at the end of it. So y'all hold on. Take care of each other. Stay vigilant. Keep your eyes open. Watch the children. Listen to the children. get ready for the next phases of whatever they got in this matrix, because we don't have too much more time here before some drastic changes are made. Family, until you see my face again, may the Most High take care of you and yours. Peace. Alito.